This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Sunday morning. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, we check in on the restaurant industry when it comes to indoor mask mandates, how some are slowly transitioning back to normal. Plus, he was the voice of Rip City. Former Trailblazers announcer Bill Schonely is retiring, and now the team will have to find his replacement as an ambassador. But first, let's check in with Rod Hill for a quick look at the forecast. Rod, good morning.
I'm glad Bill's doing well. You scared me a little bit before that headline.
Oh, right. Yes, he's fine. He's fine.
Good morning, Mr. Schonely. All right.
Absolutely.
We have snow in the mountains. Those passes are snow covered as we thought they would be this morning. Snow levels down to 3,000 feet. We have a wall of steady rain hitting us here on the west side and also working across parts of the Columbia Basin. So it is the wet and somewhat windy morning that we had told you to expect. Those yellow areas on the radar just getting out of Yamhill County, working up into Washington County. That's coming to a few folks in, say, the Sherwood area, it looks like. Here are the temperatures. They're not bad with all the action going on. We're holding in the 40s, 46 in Portland, 45 in Salem, and most areas are above freezing. Burns is at 32. The wind warning for the coast was allowed to expire earlier this morning back at 5 a.m. We have south winds gusting to almost 30 up and down parts of the valley, and Newport is still blowing to almost 40. So it's a rock and roll morning as we look at your planner. We're going to see steady rain continue through at least mid-morning. 48 degrees at noon. Things are breaking into scattered showers then, and we will see fewer showers, and 53 a little bit later today. Shamrock Run, of course, is this morning, and well, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, get out there and enjoy it anyway. It's going to be quite a morning for sure. Thanks, Rod. Digging out from the economic hole from COVID-19 is tough for restaurants and other local businesses. And even with some big changes now, there are challenges ahead. We know a lot of you are relieved the mask mandates are over in both Oregon and Washington. So now, instead of the states, businesses have the power. Catherine Cook shares what that looks like for most of us.
It's a party. At Beach's Restaurant in Vancouver, waiting for a table never felt this eventful.
It's very strange to talk with people that you don't know face to face with no mask on and just have it back to normal.
On Saturday, both Oregon and Washington lifted their indoor mask mandates. Exceptions include public transportation, medical facilities, and private businesses can still make their own rules.
Can I get salmon on this big one, please?
Here, they handed out leis instead of masks. For manager Ali Novinger, it feels like a day worth celebrating.
Everybody's excited. For the first time in almost 2 years, we don't have to wear masks today. And so it's been a long time coming where we get to just see our guests, they get to see us, and everybody's excited about that.
Novinger says employees and guests who still want to wear masks are free to do so, though many, including this couple,
it's so nice to see people's smiling faces again.
We're fine without them, for the most part.
We left the house today and she's like, I'm not bringing a mask. And I'm like, I'm going to put one in my pocket. And she says, well, why? I said, I don't know if I have to get on a bus or on an airplane. Like, we don't know what's going to happen today, but I have it.
The mandates are lifted, but again, restaurants can use discretion as to whether or not they'll require customers and staff to mask up.
On Instagram, Portland restaurant Gato Gato posted that they'd be keeping their masking and vaccination policies in place for now. So did Alma's Hideaway, saying, we look forward to the day when we feel comfortable changing our masking policies, but that day isn't here quite yet.
This is obviously a transition time for a lot of people.
We recently spoke with Dr. Emilio DeBess, Senior Health Advisor for Oregon's COVID-19 response. He suggests taking extra care when deciding whether or not to wear a mask, especially if you're immunocompromised, live in a multi-generational home, or are unvaccinated.
If I go to a place where there's a large gathering, I'm going to wear a mask.
This is kind of that green light that things are getting better.
Greg Astley is with the Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association. He says many members are still struggling financially, and only half received restaurant revitalization funds they applied for. While masks are gone, he hopes customers recognize the struggles that still remain.
A lot of places are short-staffed right now. A lot of places are dealing with the supply chain issues. It took us 2 years to get to this point, and it's going to take us more than a couple of weeks or a couple of months to get out from under it.
It's going to be a long process and a long journey.
Back at Beaches, Novinger says they're hiring too. A place where hard work and smiles are now both on full display.
So be patient with them, be kind with them. We're all doing our best.
In Vancouver, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Now, the Portland Trailblazers are going through a rebuild this year, as you know, and now they'll have to find a new ambassador. Bill Schonely is retiring after more than 50 years with the Blazers organization. You know, he served as a play-by-play broadcaster for years and then as an ambassador for the team. The 92-year-old, 92, coined many popular catchphrases for the Blazers. Of course, the beloved Rip City is number one. He called more than 2,500 games, including the team's historic 1977 playoff run and championship win. And in 1999, Schonely was inducted into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame for broadcasting. He'll be honored at the Blazers' last regular season home game on Sunday, April 10th. Well, it is a revolving door in our jail system that some say puts suspects back on the streets far too quickly. In some cases, they go on to get arrested again, sometimes within days. Our Catherine Cook set out to learn what's really going on and discovered there's a big problem jamming up the justice system.
The city of Portland is growing, recovering, and in many ways, thriving. It's also dealing with a lot of crime. From stolen cars and graffiti to gunfire and more homicides than the city has ever seen. Some people arrested are repeat offenders. Take the suspect in last month's kidnapping case in Northeast Portland. Justin Emmanuel Hill is accused of stealing a car with a 3-year-old in the back seat. Court records show that when Hill was arrested, he had several open charges, including 3 car thefts in the last year alone. It begs the question, why are chronic repeat offenders allowed to walk in and out of jail before their trial, often putting the public at risk? A peek at the presiding judge order offers the short answer. Suspects are evaluated on risk, but typically only the most serious felony charges keep people in jail pre-trial. It took a kidnapping charge to keep Hill behind bars. For others who don't meet that criminal threshold, it's usually back on the street.
We can't keep people in jail prophylactically. It would be a constitutional violation of their rights.
This case does.
Cheryl Albright is chief criminal judge for Multnomah County Circuit Court. She points out the system has always worked that way. What's different now is the wait between arrest, release, and trial is longer.
It's everything. It's the pandemic. It's staffing shortages. It's lack of resources. You can't keep someone in custody for an extended period of time without a court-appointed attorney. That just is a constitutional crisis.
Which brings us to perhaps the most complicating factor of all right now in Oregon's criminal justice system: a shortage of public defenders and extreme case overload.
There are maybe 150 people or so who have been in RAIN in the last several weeks who have not been able to receive appointed counsel because we don't have enough court-appointed attorneys to appoint them.
Cases have been dismissed because of the lack of representation, because it is constitutionally required.
Carl McPherson is executive director of Metropolitan Public Defender, the state's largest provider of public defense services. On Monday, they started a 4-week pause on accepting new felony or misdemeanor appointments in Washington County, except for existing clients. And in Multnomah County, they haven't been accepting new minor felony appointments since January 10th. For reference, most auto thefts are minor felonies.
We do the work because we want to help people, and to know that there are people who are not receiving our services or our help is extremely painful for everyone doing the work.
McPherson says pausing on new cases wasn't a choice. He cites a 2007 Oregon State Bar opinion. It says they must refuse to accept a workload that prevents them from meeting their ethical obligation to each client. McPherson says attorneys are already working 40 to 60 hours a week on current caseloads.
It's not justice to assign an attorney to a case that they don't have the time to actually invest in representing that individual.
According to McPherson, this problem had been brewing long before the pandemic and will take years to fix. He points to a national study by the American Bar Association. Based on caseloads of the last 4 years, it found Oregon has 31% of the public defenders needed to represent clients, a deficit of 1,296 lawyers. Recently, Oregon lawmakers earmarked $12.8 million for the Office of Public Defense Services. That's enough for 36 more lawyers.
So 36 more lawyers is 2.7% of what we actually need, but it is at least a step in the right direction.
It's a long and complicated answer to what many perceive as that revolving door justice system, a system that, like the scales of justice, is striving for stability.
And so we're trying to balance a system that's not currently balanced.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Now, coming up in about 12 minutes, a positive change in a Portland community could be gone. Why a skate park created in the Lentz neighborhood is in jeopardy. But first, hundreds of thousands of refugees have left Ukraine. We talked to the local aid group helping in this global effort.